Does it bother you using a saw like this? It's uncomfortable to hold and really strains your hand, right? A few minutes, a bit of PVC, and some creativity. That's all it takes to make a comfy, smooth cutting handle that saves you a ton of cash. Roll up your sleeves, follow along, and don't forget to show off your finished project. Prepare a piece of PVC pipe, the diameter of about 2 centimeters. Use a ruler or measuring tape to measure 10 centimeters from one end of the pipe and make a mark. Then measure 12 centimeters from the same end and mark it as well. Now it's time to cut the pipe. Grab your PVC pipe cutter and carefully cut along the lines you marked earlier. Make sure to keep your hand steady and follow the marks exactly. This will give you clean, even pieces that are perfect for the next step. Now, take the short piece of pipe and cut a straight line along the center. This cut will help us open it up or fit it onto something later on. Now I'll use a heat gun to warm up the pipes. Make sure to move it around evenly so the plastic softens without getting scorched. Safety first. Always wear protective gloves when using a heat gun. It only takes a second to get burned. Now that the pipe is softened, go ahead and press the saw into it. This will help form the perfect shape for a custom fit handle. To help shape it evenly, place a flat piece of wood on top and press it down firmly while the pipe is still warm. This helps flatten the pipe evenly and gives it a cleaner, more stable shape, perfect for gripping the saw handle later. Now I'll take this shorter piece and straighten it while it's still warm and flexible. I'm also going to use a flat piece of wood to press it down and flatten it out. Same as before, I'll use a flat piece of wood to press it down and flatten it out. This helps create a smooth, even surface that we can later cut, shape, or drill into more easily. Let it cool for a few minutes. Once it hardens, you'll have a solid custom-shaped piece that's ready to use. With all the parts prepared, I'll take some sandpaper and carefully smooth down the cut surfaces. This helps remove any sharp edges and gives everything a clean, finished look. Now I'll attach this plastic piece to the end of the PVC pipe using some strong adhesive. Make sure to align it properly before pressing it down. I'm using PVC cement. This is a special adhesive made specifically for bonding PVC pipes. Apply the PVC cement evenly around the inside of the pipe end and also onto the part you're attaching. Make sure the surfaces are clean and dry before applying the glue. Once the glue is on, quickly press the two parts together and hold them firmly for a few seconds to let the bond set. Now I'll repeat the same process with the second plastic piece. Apply the PVC cement, press it into place, and hold it for a few seconds. Next, I'll drill one hole on an end of the handle. This will let us secure it firmly to the saw later. I'll mark the last hole now. Once it's drilled, I'll use a screw to fix everything in place. Now I'll mark an additional hole directly on the saw. This will help us align and secure the handle properly. All right, time to drill all the spots I marked earlier. So, what's the purpose of these two plastic pieces? Let me show you. It's a simple trick that makes a big difference. The first reason is to create a stopper at the end of the handle. This helps prevent your hand from slipping when you're using the saw. As for the second reason, I'll show you exactly what it's for in just a moment. All right, now that everything's drilled, here comes a second and pretty clever reason for those plastic parts. I've got 2 sets of bolts and nuts ready. These will help lock everything tightly in place. Now I'll heat up the bolts and nuts. Now, I'm placing the hex nut directly over the hole in the plastic. The heat will help it sink in slightly and form a perfect mold to hold in place. While the nut is still hot, I'm pressing it firmly into the hole. The softened plastic will shape around it. Locking it in place once it cools. Same steps to the other end. Heat up the nut, press it in, and let the plastic mold around it. Now that both nuts are in place, a bit of plastic has melted over the holes. I'll just go ahead and re-drill them to clear the way for the bolts. As you can see, the molded socket fits the hex nut perfectly. So when we tighten it, the nut doesn't stick out. This gives the saw a cleaner and more polished look. Now it's time to put everything together. I'll start by aligning the saw blade with the handle we just made, making sure all the holes line up properly. Next, I'll insert the bolts through the holes, one on each end, and then screw on the nuts from the other side. Because we already molded the nut sockets into the plastic, the nuts sit perfectly in place without sticking out. This makes the whole thing look much cleaner and more professional. Once both bolts are in, I'll tighten them up to lock the handle firmly onto the saw. And just like that, we got a solid, comfortable grip ready to go. Now, let's move on to cleaning the saw blade. Over time, these blades can collect rust, dirt, and debris, which makes them harder to use and shortens their lifespan. Start by spraying a light coat of WD-40 directly onto the blade. Make sure to cover both sides evenly. Then, using the sandpaper, gently rub along the surface of the blade, especially on any areas where you see rust or buildup. You don't need to press too hard, just enough to let the sandpaper and WD-40 do the work. Now it's time to test it out. I've got a piece of wood here, and I'm going to try a few cuts to see how the saw performs with the new handle. As you can see, the grip feels solid and comfortable, no slipping, and it fits nicely in the hand. The blade moves smoothly through the wood, and the handle stays firmly in place with no wobble at all. That's exactly what we want, a stable, ergonomic handle that makes sawing easier and more controlled. Next, I'm going to try cutting through a piece of PVC pipe to see how the saw handles different materials. Just like with the wood, the blade cuts smoothly, and the handle gives me full control without any slipping. PVC can sometimes be tricky if the grip isn't stable, but with this new handle, it's actually really easy to cut through. This shows that the handle isn't just comfortable, it's also versatile and reliable for all kinds of tasks. And that's it. With just a few simple tools, some PVC pipe, and a bit of creativity, we've turned an uncomfortable old saw into a solid, custom-handled tool that's not only more functional, but also looks way better. It handled both wood and plastic with ease, and the new grip feels great in the hand. Stable, comfortable, and safe. I hope this project gave you some inspiration to upgrade your own tools at home. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to give a like, share it with a friend, and hit that subscribe button for more DIY ideas like this one. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next project.